started because I like starting on time, which is good. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Western Placer Waste Management Authority meeting of the first one of 2026, January 8th. Great to see you all here. We will start with a Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll go ahead and lead us in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Terrific. All right. We'll go ahead and do roll call. And it looks like Ryan's over here. Or no, Eric. Okay, everyone's juggling hats.
Yep, switching things up a little bit tonight. Director Halden.
Here.
Director Haldeshout.
Here.
Director Reedy.
On his way?
On his way. And Director Gore.
Here. All right. So we do have quorum, which is great. And then we'll begin next with a statement of meeting procedures.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Western Placer Waste Management Authority meeting of January 8th, 2026. Agendas are available on the table outside this meeting room. If you are here to speak on a matter not on the agenda, you may do so during public comment. The board is not permitted to take action on items addressed under public comment. All items on the agenda will be open for the public to address before final action is taken. Accessibility information is provided on the meeting agenda. Please turn off or put in silent mode all cell phones and other electronic devices. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much. All right. Next is an opportunity for public comment. So folks are allowed to address the board on items that are not on our agenda. So if anyone in the public would like to come forward and make a comment, this is your opportunity. So, sir, I think you wanted to do that. Come on up. And it looks like the microphone is on, so you're good to go.
How's this?
Perfect.
Thank you. My name is Neil Cochran. I'm a resident of Lincoln. And I told some folks here I wanted to tell you what I think about this organization and the people in it tonight. And the truth is, I think you're pretty damn great.
Well, thank you.
I lived for 20 years in Forest Hill and had services there from this building through Recology. And it was amazing how much yard waste that they have taken out of that place. We just put everything we had and they kept taking it, kept taking it. And the service there was superb. I've been in Lincoln for 5 years and I have to say the same thing about the service here. It's prompt and it's thorough. And it's made me think about where does all that stuff go, that material. And I'm in a writers club over at Lincoln Hills, and I decided to write an article about it. And I needed to do research. So Emily, your very capable PIO, had come over to speak there last year. And she did such a good job, I figured she could be the place to get the information. And so she offered me a tour, and I gladly took it, came over and saw what you really do in this facility. It's a lot, it's noisy, it's thorough, and it's just great. She explained how we're the only county that takes care of all their own trash. I think that's wonderful. She explained how it's planned for in the future. That's wonderful also. The best thing about the service here is the one barrel. Guests that come to our house and it's trash day don't believe it when we just put out that one barrel and that's all we have to do. They said, well, what about the other stuff, all those barrels and those trips? We don't do that. How does that happen? I don't know. It's wonderful. They do it. I also mentioned, the circular economy is very attractive. I think that's good for the environment. I also mentioned and sent a copy of the article to my grandson who works for a trash hauling service in Texas, and I explained it to him. And he said, That's remarkable and impossible. So I'm going to have to take that up with my boss. So all I can say is, thanks to this organization. It's a good service, it's needed, and it's well done. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Cochran. I appreciate you coming and sharing that. And thank you for actually sharing what you've learned with other people. We really appreciate that. And I had the same experience at a friend's house during the holidays, and I was helping her out, and then I went, oh, I have to recycle. I have to, what do I recycle? Where do I put it? We are spoiled. So the people in this room are the ones who do the bulk of the work. And we've got folks from FCC and the WAPNA team here, and they do a great job. So appreciate you being here and sharing your perspective.
We might have a new brand, making the impossible remarkable.
Very good. All right, anyone else for public comment? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment and move on to announcements and information. And we'll start with our general manager.
Thank you, Chair Gore. I have a few things to update you guys on since it's been a little while. Hope everybody had good holidays. I believe I sent around an article, but I wanted to state that we were acknowledged by a Recycling Today magazine as being the largest MRF in North America for 2024 tonnage, by tonnage processed, which was over 395,000 tons. Put that into perspective, the number 2 facility was a facility in Chicago that processed over 100,000 tons less than we did. I really bring this up to point out the monumental task that we've kind of undertaken, you guys all together, in upgrading this facility, keeping it open while we're still processing this material. So I think that's, you know, we all deserve some good recognition for that. In November, we received the second reimbursement of $1.2 million from Cal Recycle for that organics grant. I think to date we have received just under $8 million with about $1.6 million left. So we always thank Stephanie, who's not here tonight, for keeping us on track with that. Eric's been taking the lead on working with Ameresco on the finalizing the landfill gas beneficial use agreement. Planning on bringing that to the board in February or March for approval. We have been working closely with Tony and his crew on the MRF amendment that we're hoping to bring to the board in February or March. I think I brought this up before, but it is a big deal. The U.S. Composting Council is having their annual conference in Sacramento, and our site, February 2nd, is a big tour site. There's going to be 120 people, industry experts come into the facility. So we want to make sure it's clean. We're answering questions. It's going to be a big deal for us. It's going to give us a lot of exposure. I know a lot of people come in. They're pretty excited to see the facility, so we're going to get it looking good. It does look good. We're going to keep it up. The other thing that we've been working with is an amendment for Amos, the RC airplane. I forget his David. To extending that agreement for another 5 years, hoping to bring that to the lease agreement, hoping to bring that in February. Next month, as we were speaking earlier, we'll do the chair rotation and establish a meeting schedule for 2026. So if there are any dates that are known that won't work, please reach out to us and we can work around those dates. Otherwise, they'll just be the standard dates. Last but not least, a positive note, I think our WAPMA staff, operations, has been working closely with Tony and his staff to really dramatically reduce the wait time for the haulers and the public. And there were haulers, unfortunately, that were waiting close to 2 hours a month or so ago, which is time and money. And that has pretty much been taken care of. It's you know, just vastly different out there, and that's due to the hard work, I think, of our staff and Tony's staff. So that's it.
Great, thank you very much. Some good news there. Any questions? All right, then we'll, oops. You know what, Ethan, do I need to ask if there's public comment on each of these items? If they're information? No? Okay. All right, then we'll go to, maybe what I'll do is at the end of the information items, ask if there is. Okay. I think I'd asked that sooner than the last meeting of my being chair, but hey. All right, financial reports, I don't see Stephen, but is that you, Eric?
Yeah, I'll take that one
Okay,
on.
thanks.
Thank you, Chair Gore. Your board has the financials through November in your packet, and I'll go through this pretty quickly. It's been the case now for many months, which is a good story, is that we're tracking ahead of projections for revenues being brought in. That's a reflection of the tonnages being brought to the facility. They're about 1% higher than what we had anticipated. We're also seeing better returns on our investment through the Treasury, which is always a great story. So we're tracking about $500,000 over our projections at this point in the year. Expenditure-wise, we are tracking about $4.6 million below our budgeted numbers. Part of that is due to capital costs, just not expending those costs quite yet. That amounts to about $1.6 million. And then the other big chunk is that we haven't made the interest payment on the bonds of a little over $2 million, which actually occurred in late December. But if you take those out, we're still tracking about $200,000 under our projections for normal operating costs. So a very good story there. So if there's any questions about any of the specific line items, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Eric. Any question about the financial reports? All right, then we'll move on to the tonnage reports. I will.
Yeah, good evening, Chair Gore, fellow board directors. Before you is the up-to-date monthly tonnage reports through last month. I think, the big takeaway from last month is, how weather can greatly affect our tonnages. As you can see, we have, some natural peaks and some lows in December concerning green waste peaking, MSW peaking, and then inerts and C&D on their valleys. So with those storms last month, it definitely accentuated those peaks. We had a lot of wet waste coming in for MSW, some very big heavy days of that, and then also a lot of green waste that came in. And then on the flip side, not a lot of C&D projects going on during the storm. So besides that kind of, oddity, everything's tracking nicely, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any questions? Yep. All right. Then we'll take the operator update. FCC. Nope, not yet.
Flip the switch.
There you go.
All right. Good evening, Chair Gore, Board of Directors. So for our updates, 2 months ago, I came here and mentioned we were looking for the fixes to our throughput issues. And as Scott mentioned earlier, thankfully the team figured out solutions for our shredders. We have been able to keep up with the materials. We've got a good cadence, good process, good turn times for all the haulers and all the local folks that are coming through here. I do want to give a special shout out to the staff, the WAMA staff and Scott, for working with us and being partners and helping us secure these issues, as well as to the FCC team. The team put in quite a bit of work in helping us keep up and focus on the key areas. We'll continue to work our way through the MRF to make sure that we identify the bottlenecks, AWS star screens, and NISA modifications. Those will be here in the calendar within the next 2 months, as well as the paper dryers, and continue to work our way through the bottlenecks to start helping out not only the throughput, but also the recovery numbers. So very thrilled with these quick wins that we've had in getting our situation in order, getting things in control. And I'm also very thrilled. I've got with me a couple of the new staff members. Brian Walters joined our company. He is our transportation manager. Jose Lizarga joined our company. He is our C&D manager. And most recently, as of this week, our newly hired senior GM, Greg Ryan, who is here with me as well. And Greg, if you want to come up and introduce yourself, quick intro.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see everybody. Very excited to be here. It's only my 4th day, but I think I see a lot of opportunities for improvements and things that'll help both parties be successful. So they're excited to help get those implemented, and it just takes some creative thinking and open minds on both sides and a willingness to make changes.
Greg, how many years have you been in the industry?
33 years.
And you're local in the Sacramento region, is that correct?
Not at the moment. I'll be moving up from the Bay Area, where I worked at Green Waste Recovery and Zanker Road Resource Management.
Okay. Well, welcome. And this is a much nicer place to live in our never to be humble opinion.
Well, I mean, if he's moving from Walnut Creek, I don't know. But, you know.
Thank you.
Any questions for Tony? You know, Tony, I have one question. And I want to say thank you to you and your team for how hard you've been working along with the WATMA team to really get us to the place where we're meeting our 1383 numbers, which has been a long haul and a lot of work. So really appreciate that. Do we have a sense of when we might be able to, when we're going to be at that place of getting to the recovery numbers we need to get to?
No, so while we're not there yet, we do have a game plan here for the next quarter, the next 3 months to finalize these construction projects, the modifications that we've identified that need the working. We have commenced a pilot project with our MSW Organics, and having the expertise like Greg on board will start helping us out with fine-tuning that process, get that solidified so that we can move forward and then get us to that healthier place. So targeting hopefully middle of the summer this year.
Okay, as soon as we can get there, I think it's just so important, right? Because we have these mandates that we have to meet. But I really, and I know y'all are working, and I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the willingness of everyone to work together, which is, it's challenging. We've got people have different hats and concerns. But at the end of the day, I look at this and I go, we've invested a lot of money. And our residents appreciate the fact that we have this one big bin, which I do as well. And more than anything, this board wants to make sure we're successful, right? Like, that's the goal. Because it's not really about our success. It's about our residents having great value for what they're paying on their bills every month. So I just encourage you, and then also say thank you, because I know it's not been easy. Anyone else?
No.
Great. All right. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to facility projects update. Ryan.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Board. So going into the MRF improvements and what that kind of closeout is looking like, we'll hit these by phase as usual. For phase 2, the ADA improvements, all of the internal ADA work has been complete as of the end of last year, being December 31st. And we're just waiting for good weather to get the ADA striping done at this point, and that's a couple stalls just towards the front of the admin building there. But assume we'll get good enough weather by the end of February to finish that phase out. For phase 3A in the MRF, really all of our updates today revolve around just fire protection and some additional controls on that end. So FCC added a deluge system to the paper dryers to just offer an additional level of fire protection on that front. The system was completed and was approved by the fire marshal on December 17th, and that's just waiting a commissioning process that we hope to start January 9th, but it could take a couple days of shutdown. So FCC and WATMA staff have been working together to figure out a contingency plan, what's going to happen for during that shutdown, where material will go. As a final contingency, it could go to the landfill, but at this point, FCC doesn't anticipate the need to. We're going to plan that work for the weekend, so we think we'll be able to store material throughout the entirety of the shutdown and process it afterward. FCC also added a Firefly system to those shredders that Tony had referenced earlier in the receiving area. That'll be kind of an early fire protection and hot hotspot detection, just for that beginning of the processing. We anticipate that system will be commissioned mid-January, but that won't require that same level of shutdown as the other system. Jumping up to phase 3B, which is the CASP. Construction on the final portion of the CASP pad is complete, and it's just working with Sustainable Generation to commission the latest heaps, but I know communication, IT, and electrical is all done with those. It's just getting them through that final setup. So, you know, they're going through their final punch lists this week and next week, and then they'll be pretty much fully turned over to FCC for use. Van Dyke continues installation on the odor control equipment for the MRF. Completion date hasn't fully been provided, but at this point they anticipate by the end of February. There's been the winds and kind of the storm have kind of messed with the material that we've been storing on site. A lot of the ducting is fragile, and if it gets blown around by the wind, they kind of have to refabricate some things. So kind of put a little bit of a delay there. And then the FCC has started the scale and scale house construction by the C&D facility. This is for that new scale house. So right now, WATMA and FCC are going through that process of figuring out what that transition plan is going to look like for both traffic and obviously that scale house has to be manned. So we're doing that coordination at the moment and figuring out how that's going to look once that's ready and opened up. To touch on the certificate of occupancy, your board approved the easement dedication at the November meeting, and staff is still working with the county just to make sure that they have everything on their end and have gotten the approvals that they need to, you know, finalize those easements and resolve the outstanding permits. But we're still diligently working with them on that. Moving over to the liner investigation, we did complete the initial exploration and investigation of the Module 513 separation liner, and we also submitted that final report to the Water Board in early December. So I've been in some verbal communication with the Water Board, and they've given some verbal comments, but we're still waiting for those fully, you know, finalized comment response back to us, and then we'll work internally and with our consultant to make sure we address any of that. And as soon as we get approval to make those repairs, we anticipate that the Water Board will require a quick turnaround on that. So we'll be in communication with your board on anything that may come up regarding that. For the South Placer Wastewater Authority compliance project, next meeting for February, we'll be presenting an agreement to construct and operate the landfill leachate pretreatment system. So look forward to that. As an odor update, just staff is continuing to work with FCC regarding the intermittent odors from the compost and water quality ponds. And then also that staff is still working with Jacobs Engineering to design additional aeration infrastructure. Currently, we're just looking at electrical loading over in that area, making sure that we have all the right infrastructure in place to actually install and operate some additional aeration over there. But then, yeah, I'm happy to answer any other questions you guys might have.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions? No? All right, then we'll move to, well, that is it. For item 6 in the announcements and information, any public comment on this? I just want to check. All right. Yes,
I
Bill?
think we have a 6F.
Oh, did I?
Yep.
No, site, yes, you were talking about odor, and so I saw the odor. All right, site-wide odor plan update.
Yeah, and I'll give that one. Sarah's off tonight, and
Thanks.
she put together a very comprehensive report. So I'll just touch on some things that I think interesting in there. I mean, first, just to recap, just over 5 years ago, your board adopted the site-wide odor plan, And it was really intended to provide a comprehensive document that not only the authority could get behind, but we would have all of our contractors and operators adhere to as well, so that we could run this facility and be the best neighbor possible in terms of odors. And it's really borne fruit over the years. So I'd like to highlight a couple points on here worth of note. It's on the second page of the report under odor monitoring and dispersion and predictive odor risk monitoring. And the part that I want to highlight is that we worked with the provider of our software system, and over the last couple of years, we receive every day a 3-day forecast look ahead for potential high-risk odor situations. And we use that forecast to work with our operators, particularly FCC, to adapt operations to, where possible, reduce operations that could have a high potential for odors during those high-risk periods, and in situations where really the operation has to move forward and they can't alter it, put best management practices in or other operational pieces that help reduce that odor potential. And it has really proved quite effective, as noted in the last paragraph there, or the second last paragraph. We had 39 days during last year where we were in that high-risk period. So basically 1 out of every 10 days we're in a high-risk odor period. And FCC was either able to modify their operations around those periods of high risk, or, as I note, take specific measures to reduce that odor potential. And as a result, of those 39 days, there's only 6 where we received any odor notifications from folks, and only 7 odor notifications. And I think that that is a real testament.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and it's well deserved. I mean, that's a huge, huge improvement from where we were at years ago, where, you know, there was really effectively zero control out there in the field. And so it's a really great working relationship, communicating day in, day out with FCC to, you know, keep this place, you know, the smallest odor nose print, I guess, as possible. So it's been really a great success. On page 3 of the report, under odor notifications, this kind of dovetails in with that, is last year we received a total of 39 odor notifications. Of those, 14 were directly related to our operations based on our WAPMA staff's investigations. So in the previous period, the year prior, we had received 59 notifications, 21 which were attributed to us. Still, those are incredibly low numbers compared to what we used to see in the past. So continue to make progress of tightening up our operations and reducing the impact to the community around us. And I think not only does it make our life easier, but I'm sure it makes the residents around here, their life a lot more enjoyable. It's really interesting to note in here is that we talk about when we got those 39 odor notifications this last year. Your board surely remembers there was a point not too long ago where the South Compost Pond smelled awful. In
I
fact,
remember that.
yes, you did.
Hard to forget.
Yes. How could
Thought
you
I
forget?
stepped in something.
Right. It was really horrific, I mean, to say the least. But the fact that we didn't receive a lot of odor notifications from folks on that said something really interesting to us, is that it was a really bad odor, but it was also very localized. It didn't travel very far, which was, you know, that doesn't give us carte blanche not to address the odors, but it was good to know that it wasn't impacting the community. And, you know, we learned just not too long ago, a month or so ago, that there are other odors in the region that do travel quite far and do impact folks, and we're usually blamed for it right away. But through our investigation process and working with the regulatory agencies and the neighbors and everything else, we're able to identify those sources and improve communications and hopefully make, you know, help the community understand what's going on around them, where they live, and that it's not just the landfill here that can produce odors, and that we can kind of work collaboratively on a regional basis to help reduce that impact, or at least help people understand what's going on around them, so that, you know, that takes away a lot of that angst, is when you know what's going on. So very good story there. And then finally, on the last page of the report, just goes to show again how the authority really is a role model across the solid waste industry, is that in partnership with the manufacturer, the software producer that we use, EnviroSuite, we presented to the 2025 CalRecycle Hybrid Technical Training Series on odor monitoring and forecasting, and gave a presentation about our odor monitoring and forecasting methods to other industry, folks, to show this is how you can run this type of site and really be a good neighbor and be very proactive and reduce your impact on the region. So, kudos to Sarah and our staff that was able to present there, and once again, show the authority is really leading the way on how to be a great facility. So that's it for the report. If there's any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Eric. Go ahead, John.
Just two quick things. What constitutes a notification? Is that just someone calling or emailing?
We do have on our website, it's an email notification form where someone can submit that a notification via email of its time, what they sensed, intensity, what their location is, and then that email comes to authority staff, FCC staff, and Air Pollution Control District staff. And it also sends out a signal to some of our phones, so we get a text. If we're out in the field, we can go out and do an investigation right away. So we put the system in and tweaked it over time so that it's kind of a mass alert to the people that need to hear this information.
So if you go through the website and do that form, it's triggering one of these notices. That's how that.
Correct. That is correct.
So I assume do people call you?
If they do, we direct them back to the website to file one of these. And we've gotten to the point where folks know the system and they know how to report to it. So we rarely receive calls or anything outside of this system.
Cool. And then when you were talking about the software, is it just looking at the weather forecast, temperatures, humidity, those kinds of things, and providing that the suggestion that you're going to have a high propensity for an issue, or is it tied into like actual measurements of our ponds and our systems here? Like
It's a fantastic question. So it's actually twofold. We have odor monitoring systems on site as well as off site, but the on site systems go through an algorithm that this company produced and produces odor plume information and displays it on a Google map essentially, so we can see where odor plumes are starting to touch different areas of the community. We have a system in there where we can do a reverse trajectory of a hypothetical odor particle for 1 hour, so we can see which way the odor plumes may have gone to a certain residence. But the odor risk forecast is all weather-based, and so what we've done is we say if the weather conditions are such that the winds are in a certain range and it's going a certain direction, that has a potential to impact generally the communities, Rockland and Roseville communities for the most part.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, anybody out there? All right, I appreciate that update. Let's go ahead and move to action items. The first item is just the minutes of the board meeting held November 13th, 2025. Did anyone have any changes? All right, and I'll just open it up to the public for any public comment on the minutes. And close.
Move to approve.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Director Hodeschelt, second by Director Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have item 7B, which is agreement with CB Pacific and Wunderlich Malik Engineering for server and
SCADA.
yeah, that services. Good. Yeah. Services, something with an acronym. SCADA services.
Sorry, low battery on there. Thank you, Chair. So the recommended action for tonight would be to authorize the Chair to execute a sole source agreement with CB Pacific for server upgrade and SCADA software services. Just as a little bit of background, the WATMA maintains and operates a landfill gas collection system and blower flare station, and that system has an accompanying SCADA system. To give you just a quick rundown, SCADA is a data collection system that's often automated and allows historical and live access to sensor readings that are pretty crucial to operations. So also whether or not it shuts down, it can send out alarms. So this is really crucial infrastructure to be monitoring on our site. And historically, the WATMA has relied on servers located actually at Placer County's Auburn offices, as well as the backups are there too. For a lot of that data, we have some on site, but a lot of it is off site. Placer County has indicated that it doesn't have the capacity to be able to serve the WATMA with SCADA support services. And arguably, when it comes down to projects like this one, it's a lot of lift work, and they don't have the staff or capacity to do that. So they would be contracting it out to a firm just to handle this. So they recommended that we just deal with them directly and save some extra money there. So at the recommendation of their IT, we solicited a proposal from the firm CB Pacific, who will be subcontracting Wunderlich Malik. And they do currently provide SCADA and server services for Placer County. And contracting them will provide that congruous transition and user experience. So we'll have a similar setup to what we have now, but then also the back end support now, and a relationship with a company and firm who can provide us direct support when we need it. And often the county, with the amount that they serve, is not often fast enough for the emergent nature of the issues that we experience here. So right now we possess one server on site to serve the SCADA system. It was last updated in 2018. Industry standard for these things is to replace them every 3 to 5 years. So this is well beyond its update range. So the purpose of this agreement would be for the consultant to provide and install a new server with backup capabilities, update the SCADA software, transfer our existing SCADA system to this new server without interruption. And this contract would also allow an avenue for CB Pacific to provide that direct SCADA server services to the WATMA. So kind of multifold, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Ryan, any questions?
Yeah, I should have asked this before, but what the sole source limit, what is that? Is it $500,000 or? I mean, what's the determination when we go to contract or go out to bid versus doing sole source?
So this board has not established a monetary threshold for sole source and non-sole source, and it's usually been one where if a firm is uniquely qualified to do the work, and we would present that to your board, or if it's not in the public's interest to go through the process of an RFP, if that there's not enough savings there to warrant going through that process. And so, we would generally make that recommendation to your board based on those factors.
Thank you.
What are we paying Placer County to provide the services to us now?
That's a bit of a difficult question to answer, the way that we get charged from Placer County.
Okay.
So I really can't answer that directly. I wish I could. But I think even to Ryan's point is that we're not often getting the services that we need in the timely manner that we need them. And one of the key pieces that we struggle with on the SCADA system is it's collecting an enormous amount of data that we need for regulatory reports, and we down here can't access the data at all. We have to request it from the county, and then they download it and provide it to us. So what this is doing is not only improving the timeliness of getting the data, but having immediate and direct access to it. So hopefully in the end it's cost neutral or cheaper, but I can't confirm that to you right now. But in terms of efficiencies and access, it'll be a dramatic improvement.
Yeah, I don't have any objection with the system being here at the WATMA facility, but I'm a little also concerned about the sole sourcing, and if there, at some way to say, this is approximately 200,000, the similar kind of thing would have been the same in the county, then I'd feel better about a sole source, because we have some reference point to lean against saying, we're kind of close there, as opposed to, we asked the current guys who are providing the service to the county, but something there isn't working great for us. Is it the county? Is it them? Like, what's not working there, but we're still gonna bring them over and do it here? I don't know enough to have a concern about it, except that there's some red flags going off there, and not having any basis to know is 215 what this should cost to do. I don't have any objection to bringing it in-house. It's just I'm a little concerned about the sole sourcing, and that we don't have any internal expertise to know that or something to compare it with, to know this is a reasonable number.
Well, and it brings to the point of, we probably need to have a policy about when we sole source and when we do an RFP. We need to establish that, right? Because we've relied on the county for ever, and now that as we separate ourselves from the county, I think we should have a process and some recommendations.
Can I provide some historical
That would be
information
helpful,
too?
Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For other consultant-related services and professional services, we've also in the past relied on the Placer County pre-qualified lists. So this would fall under that, is what we've historically done. I agree, though, we can definitely create a more well-defined policy on our own, but this would be in line with how we've handled previous things in the past using Placer County's pre-qualified list.
And that's helpful, because they've already been pre-qualified by the county, so that makes
Yeah,
me
because
feel a little
they're
bit better.
Yeah, because they're under contract. They're currently in contract with the county to do these exact services for them. So
Okay.
that's where we were, had thought that sole source would be appropriate.
Right, and as we slowly move away from utilizing the county's procurement team, at some point, right, then we'll need these policies ourselves. Let's open it up to the public for any public comment, and bring it back to the board for any further discussion. I mean, to me, it makes sense. We got to upgrade the servers. Need to be able to do that. And if you're not getting what you need, makes sense to bring it in-house. I think for me, because they're an approved contractor by the county already, I feel comfortable, but I think you brought up some very good points, Director.
Yeah, I agree. We should have a policy on where this is, and it'd be, I'm fine with moving forward. I think in the future, being able to anchor into some, is this what they would have charged the county to do this service for? Under that contract, are we getting the same rate the county is getting?
Yeah, I'm not sure how we could verify that. I would hope that
That's the case.
that is why they pointed us this direction, was because they were going to say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost us. We don't have the capacity to manage this contractor for you. We would like you to do it, was the message that we received from them. So
Okay.
It's probably right in front of my face. What's the term of the contract?
It's a one and done, right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
And
think.
then the other part is that
On
who's gonna-
operation and maintenance. of
ongoing
that.
maintenance.
Right.
Will there
yes,
that be
so
afterwards?
we could reach out to them for additional services after this, but they would bill us hourly for that. But this actual dollar figure is just the one and done.
Just the hardware.
Right. We could, if we want them to rebuild or change anything or
It covers a
expand
year
something.
on the hardware, looks like.
Yeah, that's part of the warranty guarantee that
Yeah.
if any hardware goes out in that year, they'll come back and fix that at no charge.
All right, with those, I agree with all of my colleagues up here, and I would recommend the action to authorize the chairman to execute a sole source contract and determine that the recommended action is exempt from CEQA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. as we work our way through separating ourselves from the county, right? So, and I think it's a good point, right? We, sole source, maybe double check. All right. Next item is item 7C, the First Amendment to the General Management Employment Agreement, and I'll have Ethan take this.
Thank you. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chair. So as the board knows, you completed the general manager's annual performance evaluation at the November meeting, and based on the outcome of that meeting, the board chair asked that I prepare a proposed amendment to the general manager's existing employment agreement. The proposed amendment includes a 3% increase to his annual salary from $210,000 to $216,300, and that change would be effective as of November 13th, 2025, so the date that you completed the evaluation process. There was one other minor amendment that we made to the language of the contract. Under the existing contract, there was some reference in the employment agreement to the fact that his original salary was based on a specific county employee salary rate, and since, like you said, we're moving away from the county as kind of a benchmark for our for the WAPMA specific employees, we didn't think that language was necessary anymore, and then we just added some language to the contract to make clear that all future contracts or all future amendments are subject to the complete discretion of the board as to whether you make any further salary amendments. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on that.
Thank you, Ethan. Any questions? Nope. All right. Public comment on this item? And seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a vote.
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of item 7C.
Second.
All right. Motion by Director Halden, second by Director Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you for all of your hard work. It's we
you.
appreciate it. We were a little slow in getting to you, but thank you for your hard work, Scott.
Thank you.
All right. Item 8, reports from directors. Yes, Mr. Halden.
I have a important report. I cleaned out my garage, brought paint, big batteries, lots of light bulbs, and e-waste. I made it a grand trip and brought my recyclables too, and just everything was very smooth, and walked away with no charge, which I appreciate. I want to make sure nobody's going to try to slip a little charge on me. And then $10.18 for my recyclables. So got my check and deposited it and all set. So
All right.
Yep.
Good to hear. Thank you.
just testing everything over here. Yes. Yeah.
Any other reports from directors? No. All right. And then upcoming agenda items. I mean, you've got some things we can work on in the future. We got plenty of stuff going on. Anything else?
Madam Chair, would it
Yes.
be appropriate to adjourn in memory of the late Congressman Doug Lamalfa?
We can certainly adjourn in memory of the late Congressman.
I apologize, I didn't,
Lamalfa.
mention that before our meeting.
Yeah, it was quite, talk about a gentleman who's committed to the North State and representing interests of not only his district, but ours as well. So we will adjourn in memory of Congressman Lamalfa. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time this evening.